Hello everyone, so today's video is going to be another one of those TeenPagan videos that I've done a few of those already, and some people have suggested that they want to see more of these videos, so here's another one, ask and you shall receive, within reason. Anyway, so today's video is going to be on paganism and your parents. So this video is going to be geared more towards people who live with their parents, who are under the age of 18, who are teenagers, who have discovered their spiritual path and want to be open about it with their parents, want to tell their parents in a variety of situations that they might be in. So, this is steps you can take to help your parents accept your alternative spiritual path. This isn't necessarily going to work, but this is just a mature approach to telling your parents and helping them to accept what you believe in. Because you have to, your parents are your parents. They're always going to be your parents. They're not like friends. You can get rid of friends. You can't really get rid of your parents. I mean, in certain situations you can, but wouldn't it be lovely if you could just get along with your parents and they could accept you for who you are? Wouldn't that be awesome? So you want to make sure that they do that. That's the ideal situation, them accepting who you are. So if you're worried about that or want to be open with them, this is the video for you. So, there are a couple methods that you can take to trying to help them understand or just being open and telling them. The first approach that I'm going to talk about is straight up telling them. So just coming out completely, being like, Mom, Dad, I am a pagan, or I am whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to be paganism. It could be, if you're a Catholic, Mom, I am a Presbyterian. I don't know. That was a really bad example, but just really, I think you understand what I'm saying. So, there's a couple steps to this. The first one, do your research. Get a firm grasp on what you believe in. Understand what the path that you're following is all about. If you're following the Wiccan path, for example, do your research about that specific path and get to know it very, very well, and make sure that that is what you really believe in, because you don't want to go through this potential hellhole, like this potential journey into the shitty abyss with your parents, because that could potentially happen if they are totally against your beliefs. You don't want to go into that if you really, really don't firmly believe in what you're fighting for. That's just a bit ridiculous. So if you do your research, get very familiar with what you believe in and stuff like that, and make sure that this is what you really, really believe in, and this is what you want. That's step number one, know what you want. Number two, be mature and explain your reasoning. This kind of goes with the research. You need to have a reason for why you believe this. Why you believe in a goddess instead of a god, or why you believe in a god and a goddess, or why you believe in multiple deities, or why you believe there is no god or goddess, or whatever, you're an atheist or something like that. You have to explain your reasoning. And I can't give you really a good example because everyone's reasoning is different for believing in their own spiritual path, but you have to be able to explain why, because your parents are probably going to want to know why. Like, why you don't believe in what they believe in, because you've been raised to believe this, so why don't you now? Also, be mature in how you go about this. Don't be childish and go all like, well, I don't believe in what you believe in, and your religion is shit, and mine is the boss, and so you know what, fuck you. Like, that's not what you're gonna want to do, because that's just going to, you're asking for a negative reaction then. So be mature, stay calm, and explain your reasoning. This isn't going to be child to adult. You're not talking, child to parent. You're talking adult to adult. If you treat them like they are just a normal person and you're having a conversation, then they're going to react a little bit better than if you were being like, please don't hurt me, please, no, this is what I believe in, I'm a child. Or if you're being like, no, like, don't get your attitude out and don't get your little kid whiny voice out, because that's just ridiculous. You are a mature adult. If you're mature enough to have come to the realization of your spiritual path, then you're mature enough to talk to your parents about it in a mature way. Another step you can take is anticipating their reactions. You're going to want to anticipate all of their reactions, so whether they have a positive reaction or a negative reaction, or even just they're curious and they're going to ask questions. I can guarantee you whatever reaction they have to it, they're most likely going to ask questions. So you're going to want to prepare a little speech or whatever, especially if they have a negative reaction. You're going to want to, you know, ease into it a little bit more. If they have a positive reaction, I mean, like, you're pretty much golden there. But they're always going to have questions. So say if they ask you, why do you believe in this? Tell them why you believe in it. Be able to have a factual and logical and smart explanation as to why you believe in it. And don't make it vague. Make it very, very specific. I believe in a goddess because I feel like women give birth to men, and so it makes sense that, you know, our deity would give birth to everything, you know, would be female. I don't know, that was a really bad example also, but you gotta get, I think you're picking up what I'm putting down. So, you know, if you need to, you can write out potential questions like, why do you believe in this? Why don't you believe in our spiritual path? What is wrong with that? What drew you to whatever spiritual path or religion that you're following now? If you need to write down those potential questions and have hypothetical answers already, you know, planned, then that could be very helpful. Also, understanding their beliefs. So, most likely a lot of people who are watching this video probably came from a very Christian household or a very Orthodox religious household, and so therefore their parents might be very firm in what they believe in, and you might have grown up with a religion, but make sure that you know what they believe in or are able to understand. So if your parents are Catholic, you know, become familiar with Catholicism, because that'll make them understand that you really have put some time and thought into researching and understanding their beliefs and saying they really know, okay, maybe this isn't for you. It's kind of like when you're a little kid and you're trying like tomatoes or something gross for the first time, and it looks gross and it smells gross, and so you're not going to eat it. And your parents are like, okay, you can't tell me that you don't like it because you've never tried it before. But then if you try it and then don't like it, then they know that you really, really don't like it. So don't knock it before you try it. Make sure that you're familiar with your parents' or guardians' spiritual beliefs or religious beliefs. Be familiar with those and know what you're talking about when it comes to that, because I can guarantee you that they're going to pull their beliefs into this conversation in the most ridiculous ways. Anyways, stay calm and carry on. Whatever you do, don't overreact. Don't yell. You might have to defend your point of view, but if it gets to the point where you're just angry and they're just not understanding, you know what? Feel free to just say, okay, I understand where you're coming from. I understand that, you know what, maybe you're not going to accept my spiritual beliefs now, but I hope that you can someday. And leave it at that. Don't carry on. Don't yell. Don't keep going over the same thing, because it's going to get old and you're not going to want to hear it. If they're not going to get it right then, they might get it later. But there's a good chance that your parents aren't going to be immediately accepting of whatever it is you believe in, especially if you do come from an Orthodox family, religious background, whatever you want to say. So that's really, really important if you know, is to know that they might not accept right away. Another approach you could take to outing yourself to your parents about your spiritual beliefs, or trying to get them to accept your spiritual beliefs, is slow assimilation. So, steps you can take to this is talk the talk and walk the walk. Talk smartly and factually about religion and philosophy, and that's not just your spiritual beliefs, that's religion and philosophy and theology in general. Show your parents that you know a lot about their religion, or what would be the family's religion, other religions, and talk also about your religion, without actually coming out and saying this is what I believe in, but being able to talk factually and smartly about those theologies and religions and beliefs is going to help them to realize later on that you are smart and you are mature and that you know a lot about different beliefs. And so it's not like you're going into this willy-nilly and you're just thinking, oh, this sounds cool, so I'm going to be a pagan or a Wiccan or whatever, because, you know, I like to do magic and stuff, I want to fly. Like, no, that's not what you want to do. Make them understand that you aren't just an immature little kid anymore, that you can talk like an adult and make adult decisions. Show interest, this goes in with that one. Show interest in their religion and those of other cultures. So if you're showing interest in many different beliefs and many different religions, that's also going to maybe get the triggers going, like maybe she's thinking that, or he's thinking that they don't believe necessarily in what we believe in. So it's kind of a segue into either flat out telling them or the potential steps that you might take after this one. Leave out harmless looking tools. This is kind of what I did to, I don't know, assimilate my mother with my spiritual beliefs. I had, you know, little tiny altars with candles and incense and crystals, things that were nice and colorful and that looked happy and looked cool, but were also a legitimate part of my spiritual practice. You don't want to leave out anything that you really don't use, because that's just kind of pointless. But if you start getting like candles and incense and crystals and laying them out, I'm not saying that this is the best approach, but I'm saying it's an approach you can take. If you feel like your parents aren't going to freak out completely if they see something like that, then definitely take that step, because it'll start, again, to get the wheels turning in their head and make them see, because your parents, I mean, they can be totally oblivious, but for the most part, they're not that dumb. Avoid the dark and the malicious. Don't hide anything. Don't go around, you know, with big pentagrams and upside down crosses and all that shit, because that's just gonna freak them out. Parents do get scared. They don't want their kid to be satanic. Like, that's not what we're going for here. We're going for, you know, a little bit of the fluff, because quite honestly, that's a little bit more approachable than the dark and the dreary, because that necessarily, you don't even have to be open about that, because I think a lot of those aspects of your spirituality are for you only. This is really if you want them to understand the good side of it, because a lot of parents will typically jump to the negative side. If you want them to see the good side, show them the good side. Do not, you know, dress in black and start like freaking out and becoming like Laurie Cabot. Like, let's not do that to them, because you're going to give them a heart attack, and your mother is a fragile creature. That's all I'm going to have to say. And the last thing, don't have any secrets. Don't hide anything from them. If they ask you straight up, just tell them, and then proceed to the steps in option number 1. If they ask you, are you pagan, are you witch, are you into the occult, you know, if they ask you, are you a child of the devil, like, obviously you don't have to say anything to that, because that's a little bit ridiculous. But don't hide anything from them, because the second that you start hiding things from them is the second that they're going to be, the red flags are going to go off and be like, okay, my kid is a Satanist, and they're going to sacrifice babies in my basement and hang rabbits from the ceiling, and it's just going to be awful. Like, they're going to jump to the worst conclusion if you start hiding things. And if they still don't get it, then you know what? Give them time. And if they don't get it after time, they might not ever get it. But you have to remember that your parents love you. You're their child. They love you. And sometimes it might not seem like that, and some people live in really, like, hard-ass families, but for the most part, majority of parents, they want the best for their kids. And so, you know, they may not understand and they might not completely accept it, but they're still gonna love you, okay? And I mean, like, really, 18 years old, you could move out, so it's not such a big deal. I'm kidding, I know that it is. So, I hope that this video helped teenagers, or anyone really who just wants to be open about their spirituality with their parents. And I will see you in my next video, which will probably be another one of these TeenPagan videos, so be on the lookout for that. I'm Fleur Ivor Grace. Thank you for watching this video on my channel, and I will talk to you next time. Blessed be.